Oh my fucking god. My power is off. But I'm able to make a video. I'm able to make a video. Imagine that. The guys outside are putting up new telephone poles. My poor fucking fish ain't got no air. My fucking poor fish ain't got no fucking air. I ain't got no Wi-Fi. I ain't got nothing. I ain't got nothing but a motherfucking brush. I'm just gonna brush my hair. Yeah. I'm just gonna. I got no power. No air conditioning. No fan. No nothing. But I got. You can. You can. I'm making a video of me brushing my hair. So I guess I don't need internet to make a video. I guess I can make a video whenever I want. Doctor says if I brush my hair 3 times a day, my headaches will go away. Oh God, this feels so good. So whenever your power goes out, just grab a brush and brush your hair. I don't talk to the guys. I talked to one of the guys, said he knocked on my door. Wanted to warn us, saying that, hey, the power's gonna be off. He said he tried. I thought I heard a knock, but I thought it was on my fucking internet. He said he tried ringing the bell. I didn't hear their bell ring. But yeah, this feels so good. Can you hear him out there? Can you hear me? Yeah, I'm a freak. I'm a fucking freak. Freaks are cool. This feels so good. Oh, God. Today would be a good day to go out in suntan. It's really nice out there. Actually, no, because I went out there. And I told the guy, I says, hey man, I know I paid my electric bill. The guy laughed and said, yeah, don't worry, you paid the electric bill, but you gotta turn off temporary right now. Yeah. They're putting up new telephone poles. Gotta put up new telephone poles. Well, I'm sitting there freaking out. I am freaking out. I guess I could read a book, but I should be sleeping. should be sleeping. I'm not seriously. I should be sleeping. But I figured, well, let's see what's on Facebook because I haven't checked it for 2 days. So I was poking around, and all of a sudden everything went off. Ceiling fan went off. Air conditioning went off. The poor person got no air. They're probably freaking out like, oh my god. But this happened before. They were freaking out at first. I guess they're used to it now. And they're all like trying to save their air. The air that they got in the water and in their lungs. Hoping the air would come back on. They're not gonna try to swim around too much and freak out because then they would die. They would die. Imagine if we all right out of air. Imagine that. That would be a terrible way to go. One time I almost drowned it. Another time I got electrocuted. And electrocution ain't no fun. Drowning ain't no fun. They both involve two things. You can't breathe. You can't breathe when you're drowned. And you can't breathe when you get electrocuted. You can't do shit when you get electrocuted. And you can't do shit when you get drowned. Huh. I am freaking out. I'm freaking out. I know one thing, they better get my electricity on, or else I want credit for today. I want some credit. You know, if I'm going to be paying for electricity, I can't use it. I want some credit. I got $1,000 worth of food in the fucking refrigerator. Maybe that's why I'm freaking out. Oh my god, are my eyes that bad? Or my space is just disappearing. Probably losing power. I got 3/4 power left. 8 minutes. It's probably been over 10 minutes already. I got a long time to go. Got a long time to go. I don't know if I can take it. I feel like screaming. I feel like screaming. You're my only connection right now. No connection with the world. Just me and you. Just me and you. Should I read a book? I have a book here. Huh. These are my reading glasses. These ain't my regular glasses. I can see fine. These are my reading glasses so I can read the small print. Okay, let's check this out. See, I got a book. The Boy Who Would Be King. Elvis Presley. By Earl Greenwood and Kathleen Tracy. Let's pick this page right here. Oh, we got pictures. It would always belong here. Yeah. Always belong here. Don't wreck it. You're gonna wreck it. You know how long I had this thing? Okay. All shook up. The night turned to morning, and by 9:30, Bester, Bester, and class, Cletis, looked completely drained and ready to fall asleep on their feet. We gathered up Elvis and drove back to Graceland, but always got hysterical as we pulled into the driveway. I can't go in. I should talk like I was saying. I can't go in, Elvis said. Why not? Vernon said. Shit, these pages are, oh man. This shit's so old, the pages are starting to fall out. This would probably be worth money. Huh. What's the year of this thing? What is the year of this thing? What is the year of this thing? See, the year should be the back of the book. The front of the book. The lost years. The lost years. Right. The lost years. Wait a minute. What's the date of the book? I heard the date was supposed to be at the back of the book. I think. Let's see. Where is the year? Where's the year? Where is the year? Where's the year? This thing is so old. I shouldn't even be touching it. It's probably worth money. I'm wrecking it. It's losing its fire as I'm holding it. Come on. What's the date of this thing? What's the date? Huh? What's the date in this thing? I've always seen it before. Oh, wait. Published. Wait. 1990. 1990? That's not old. August 1991. Hmm. 1991. 1990. Sparkles May 1990. 1990. So 1990, year 2000. Well, this book is 24 years old. Okay, back to where I was. Okay. Why not? Vernon said. Vernon said. I just can't. There's too much mama. There's too much mama there. It was always her house, not ours. Please don't make me go in. Let me just sit here a while. Vernon sat them both down on the steps and wrapped his arm around Elvis's shoulder as Elvis. Bert, buried his head in his hands and started to cry again, deep, whacking sobs that shook his whole body. It's my fault. Everything is my fault. How could I do this? Out of nowhere, a herd of photographers and reporters who had stormed past the open front gate, the security people neglected to close, ran toward us. I jumped up and ran to intercept them, arms waving like a wild man. Stop, please stop. They did. I begged them to respect Elvis's privacy, and they were surprisingly courteous and respectful. Not one person attempted to photograph him or call on a question, and Elvis was too grief-stricken to pay any attention to them. Vernon and Elvis were still on the stoop. An hour later, in plain view of curious onlookers who stood outside the now closed front gate, Elvis might have stayed there all day if it weren't for Miss Minnie coming out to fetch them. She reached down and cradled Elvis's face. Come on, son. You can stay. You can stay out here all day. Come on, son. You can stay out here all day. You need to rest. And we gotta make arrangements for your mama. Elvis let Miss Minnie get him inside. Once the door was closed to the outside world, she hugged him tightly. What am I gonna do? He repeated. For the, but this is hundredth time. Hundredth time. Yeah, I was right. How am I gonna live without her? I killed her. I killed my mama. As news of Gladys's Gladys. As news of Gladys's death hit the papers, TV, and radio, the crowds outside Graceland swelled to gigantic proportions. Some came out of respect for Elvis. Most were just hoping for a glance to see the grieving idol inside. Elvis was standing near a window, staring out as Vernon attempted to make arrangements for Gladys' burial. I think she should be laid out here for a day for family. Then we'll have the funeral the day after. How's that, Elvis? I want to put her in the music room. She always loved it in there. Then I want to let everyone who wants to come in and pay their respects. What do you mean by everyone? I asked. He gestured to the crowd out front. Them running red and I all looked at one another. Elvis, we can't let all those people in here. I said gently, yes we can. It's an honor to Mama. Don't tell me what I can or can't do for Mama. That's what I want, and that's the way it's gonna be. It'll be dangerous. We could have a riot on our hands. You could be hurt. I don't care if I am. If people want to come pay their respects to Mama, then I'm gonna let them. Brennan spoke up. Elvis, you always said Graceland was your mama's house. It is all hers. But there won't be much of it left if we open the doors and invite the world in. Just strip the place. You know your mama wouldn't want her house torn to pieces. That'll upset her. Elvis looked over, tears running down his cheeks. I just want them all to remember her. The day dragged by, Elvis' grief came to waves, and when it hit, he sagged against the wall or sank to the floor, weeping agonized, weeping agonized tears. He got so hysterical when Brennan went upstairs to select the dress Gladys or whatever would be buried, and he almost had to be sedated. Vernon looked ragged, but was in charge. He sent Miss Minnie to make some food and called me over for a private word. I'll feel better if you stay with Elvis. I don't think he ought to be left alone, even for a minute, not even to go to the bathroom. He's in a bad way, and I don't trust him. Security was tight, and the security guard at the gate was under orders to get clearance for everybody. Elvis would have been furious had he known that many fans tried to get in under the guise or guise under the guess of being his old high school buddy. If Burden, Minnie, or I didn't know them, they would be turned away politely. When the guard called to say a woman named Dixie requested clearance, it took me a moment to realize who it was because of the different last name. Dixie Locke, Lcke, was now a married mom, but was unable to stay away from Elvis in his time of need. She had come as soon as she heard the news, even though she was unsure at the reception she'd get. I tried calling, but couldn't get through. I wasn't sure he'd even want to see me, but I had to come over and at least see if there was anything I could do so help. Elvis was sitting in a chair next to Red and Anite. Anti? Anti? When I brought Dixie into the room, he went right over to her and held on her for dear life. Dixie and Elvis went arm in arm to the other room while Ania watched with sad understanding. Anita. Anita. You know, it's fucking sad, but I can't even see it. It fucking must be cloudy out. Like, you know, I got light. There. I got light. Yeah. 32 minutes. Oh, I wonder how long I can record. How much battery I got? Oh, half the power left. 32 minutes. Okay. I got this cool lantern. I got this cool lantern. I bought it at Walmart. One thing that works. It's a Coleman. Coleman battery powered lantern. It's working. Good. And I got a chargeable battery with it too. Nice. Okay. Let's see, where was I? Okay. To the room, Anita. Watch what said, understanding. And Tina had tried to comfort Elvis, but he shielded away from her, overcome with guilt that she had been having sex instead of being at the hospital. Oh, listen to that. He tried to, and Tina had tried to comfort Elvis, but he shielded away from her, overcome with guilt that he had been having sex instead of being at the hospital while his mama lay dying. Her touch only gave him pain instead of comfort. Well, her touch only gave him pain instead of comfort. She intuitively 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 knew their relationship had died the moment they heard the knock on the door last night. She was just the first casualty of Grady's death. She was just the first casualty of Grady's death. It was a painful day for everyone, sighed Graceland. I went to the kitchen for coffee, and the brittle eyes, glimmering with tears, filled my cup. could not come. I can stand. I can stand to see the boy torturing himself. Mr. Alice could never do enough for her. Anybody with eyes could see that. He was trying to make up her life all hurt. But ain't nobody can do that. Alberta looked up nervously, suddenly feeling as if she spoke out of turn. I am sorry, my mouth talks, but my mind can't. For my mind can tell that you stop. Alberta served sandwiches despite protest, but once the food was in front of us, everyone ate hungrily, except Alice. Exhaustion and grief turned Alice manic. He talked non-stop, unable to sit still and relax. Vernon called the doctor for sleeping. What? Vernon called the doctor for sleeping pills before Alice made himself sick, and everyone else crazy. Himself sick and everyone else crazy. While waiting for the prescription to arrive, Alice announced he was going to sell Graceland, then decided to tear it down instead and build a monument to Gladys. He was also going to donate all his money to a hospital built in her name. Parker stopped by in the middle of his monologue and left as soon as he paid his respects. He might rule Alice's career with an iron hand, but he was not included in family business and census. His presence was not welcome at this moment. It looked forever for a night to come, and when it did, I accommodated Alice upstairs, determined to see that he got some rest. While he undressed, I pulled a chair next to his bed. What's that for? He asked. That's where I'm going to sit until you go to sleep. Alice nodded and seemed to accept being watched over. He climbed into bed and took 2 sleeping pills. But before his head hit the pillow, he was sobbing again, and the words spewed out in estrangement, torment. He would never forgive himself for all the times he left Granny's to go out carousing when he knew she just wanted his company. He thought they had plenty of He thought they had plenty of time to be together once his life wasn't so crazy. He realized he was lonely, but he didn't want to take the time just then. All he wanted was some time to himself. When he wasn't responsible for other people, he loved himself for that selfishness and howled in grief that he would never be able to make it up to her. His relief at seeing her leave Texas now paralyzed and was killed. He hated women for their hold over his lines that made him betray Gladys and wish her gone. He had prayed she wouldn't come back. He had prayed that she wouldn't come back, and God punished him by granting his revenge prayer in the most horrible of ways. He had killed her with his selfishness and lust. Well, that's kind of like with me. When my mom was in the hospital, I was having an affair with Judy Semenko. And my mom wanted me to call my sister. She wrote it in the note. I never did. I feel bad. I thought my mom would make it. But I just wanted to be with somebody at the time. And I was with somebody at the time, Judy Semenko. But she helped me out a lot because my car was in the shop and I had no ride or nothing. And she was the only one I could depend on. When my mom did pass away, she took me to Milwaukee to get Cindy and bring her up here to Madison to see my mom for the last time before she was cremated. But this here is just about what happened to me. I didn't wish my mom to pass away. I wish my mom would have still been alive today, but we all knew if she was going in the hospital, she wasn't coming back. She had a bad heart, and she wasn't very healthy. She only weighed 93 pounds. Doctor said if she could get up to 100 pounds, they can give her a heart transplant. Well, it never happened. And my dad died before that, a year before that. And my mom was, gonna get his Social Security, which would I lived with my mom at the time, which would have helped us out more because my mom was surviving on her Social Security, and there wasn't very much, but I held jobs and I had jobs, but trying to help her as much as I could. But when my mom did pass, I did check the mail a couple of days later, and there was a check for $1,000 in her name, and it was for my dad's Social Security. And I just thought to myself, if she would have just lived a little bit longer, she would be able to at least see one of them checks. A lot of people said that since I was living with her and I was the last of his children, that I could have got those checks in my name. But I took that check and all my mom's stuff, put it all in bags and put it all in storage. My rotten uncle bought everything for $100 because I lost the storage because I couldn't afford to pay the bills to keep the update of the current rent of the storage shed. After my mom passed away, I went to Milwaukee, and it was just all messed up. But then I came back up in Portage and lived with my cousin, and I did refuge some of the stuff out of the storage before it was all sold out to my rotten uncle. And he told us we could have everything for $100 what he paid for. He paid $100 for everything. They auctioned it off, and my rotten uncle Raymond Street bought the whole shebang for $100. He had my mom's stuff, my dad's stuff, and my sister's stuff, and my stuff. My sister said that she went through the stuff and they had it all in the barn, and she said there was clothes everywhere. They've been all through everything. And I remember my mom having a jewelry box with a Indian buffalo nickel. Later on, years later on, I found out that nickel was worth over $1 million. The nickel is almost gone. Never got to see it. So, yep. Reading this kind of makes me think about what I've been through. Having sex with another woman while my mom was dying in the hospital. Well, it's 47 minutes. 47 minutes. Still no power. Should I keep reading? How much power I got? Oh, I got half my power left. Okay, keep reading, huh? My light is fading. My light is fading. Let's see here. Something about lust. She wouldn't come back. God punished him for granting his reserved prayer and the most horrible ways. He had killed her with his selfishness and lust. Elvis also H-A-R-B-O-R-E-D. Elvis also harbored incredible anger at Gladys for not letting him stay. Elvis also harbored incredible anger at Gladys for not letting him stay at the hospital, and for just leaving him alone in this world. She didn't want him at the hospital? What? That's messed up. Leave him, that's me. I was left alone in this world, and my mom died, my dad died. My sister, she got her own kids and life in Milwaukee, and I tried to go live with family and friends, but in Milwaukee it just didn't work. But I moved up here to Portage, and then moved in with my cousin, and he got a girl pregnant, and they, went to a bigger place, and I got his apartment, and I've been there for 10 years. And then I met a girl here in Fox Lake, and I was with her for 3.5 years and broke up with her, and I got my own place here. Here I am, 20 years later, reading a book about Elvis. And waiting for the power to come on. Still, 49 minutes. No power. I heard her knocking on the door. But they can't ring my bell because they ain't got no power. I heard her knocking on the door. And it's quiet outside. Maybe them fuckers took lunch. They took lunch and they ain't got no power? This is fucked up, man. Okay. Alright, let's go on. Elvis also harbored incredible anger at classes for not letting him stay in the hospital and for just leaving him alone in this world. She left him and gone to Jesse, who Elvis had always believed was her preferred son. Elvis had a brother named Jesse who died at a young age, I guess. Unless I'm thinking I remember from the movie, I don't know. So he was picked over Jesse, his brother. Oh, this is interesting. Okay. She left him and gone to Jesse, who Elvis had always believed was her preferred son. All of his hard work was for nothing. No matter what he did, he could never get out from under the shadow of his brother. He simply wasn't good enough. Alternating, whatever, and conflicting emotions played heroic with Elvis' sour-filled mind. When the sleeping pills restfully kicked in and knocked Elvis out, he sipped a fulfilled sleep, tears intermittently streaming down his face. The next 48 hours were a blur for Elvis. When he wasn't weeping, Elvis walked around like a zombie. His STUP, or his stupor, and interrupted by occasionally flashes of temper. The day after she died, Gladys was laid out in the music room, where a local minister was leading the family in some prayers. Elvis sat stony-faced during the service, refusing to join in. Vernon leaned over and whispered, "Elvis, come on and pray with us." "What for? God didn't do Mama any good in the end, did he? Next time I pray, I'll be..." Here we go, we got power. Oh my God. I gotta finish it now. You got power, woo! I can feel the air. Exactly, 1 hour. Okay. Vernon leaned over and whispered, "Elvis, come and pray with us." "What for? God didn't do Mama any good in the end, did he? Next time I pray, it will be to Mama and Jesse, not God." Ooh. The rest of the day was quiet because Elvis sat in the music room well into the night, until we insisted it was time for bed. Once again he slept with the ate of pills, although when he woke, he looked more exhausted than ever. Maybe this is what killed him. Overdose on pills? I'm reading books. I'm gonna be somebody. Mama said these are my magic shoes. They will take me places. My life is fading. Well, maybe I should turn on some real light, huh? Now I got power. Turn on some real light. Real life. You got power. Maybe this is God's way of showing us that there are other ways to go on with life without power. And see, my proof was read a book. You don't need no fucking television. You don't need no fucking stereos. You don't need no fancy fucking shit. Video games and whatever. Just take a fucking book and start reading. Yeah. See, now I'm getting into it. I had this book for a long time. Yeah. I had this book. Fuck. I had this book 13 years? Well, I've been here since 2001. Yeah. 13 fucking years. I had this book for 13 fucking years and I just now I'm starting to read it. Everything happens for a reason. Okay. Oh, I can see now. I got light. I was reading in the fucking shadows. You know, the words were making shadows. The letters, the humps of the, and there's shadows. Ooh. No, but really, there was no light. Maybe I should have lit a candle. I got fucking candles right here. Duh. There you go. I got candles, I got a book. Just don't open that refrigerator. Once you open that refrigerator and that freezer, that shit be fucking garbage. You know, if you leave the refrigerator or freezer closed, that it will stay cold for amount of time, a couple hours at least, before everything would start going bad. It's true. Leave that shit alone. Power goes off, don't touch that refrigerator or freezer. You know, some people are just standing there looking at it like, oh, my food's gonna get rotten, my food's gonna go bad, and they're just standing there looking at it. Look, it's starting to get warm. Some people are freaking ignorant. Leave this shit alone. You could go a few hours without food. Fat fucks. I'm all muscle, yeah. Okay, anyways. The day of the funeral was the most of Elvis's life. Wait a minute. This is page 262. Okay. Wait. More exhausted more than ever. Okay. This is the second day Elvis taking pills asleep. The day of the funeral was the worst of Elvis's life. It started out while battling the moment of it. Attendants came to transport Gladys back to the Memphis funeral home. As they wheeled the casket through the front door, Elvis broke free from Vern's grasp and ran after it. He threw himself on top of the casket, crying hysterically, "Don't leave me, Mama. Why are you leaving me? Why are you leaving me? I did everything for you. It was all for you. I never wanted it for myself. Please don't go. Give me another chance. Just one more, please. I'll do better this time. I promise. Just let me try." The rest of us were so stunned and felt so helpless to move. But the parlor guy made the mistake of trying to pry him loose. "Don't touch her!" Alva screamed. When they made another move toward him, he started panting at them. And punches. IMPO torrent punches, landing only on air. I shouted at the attendants to stop and mentioned for them to just wait until Elvis was ready to let go. It seemed like an hour, but after only a few minutes, Elvis wore himself out and his grip loosened. Vernon stepped forward and gently led Elvis away, nodding to the parlor guys to hurry up with their task before he could start again. Miss Minnie gathered Elvis up in her arms and stood there, rocking him like a baby. The number of people waiting at the funeral home was unbelievable. The police department had set up crowd control lines to keep the throng from storming the chapel where daily service was to take place. I arrived with my family before Elvis, and I was shocked by the festive air of many in the crowd. Near the entrance, two excited girls were talking and primpering in hand-held mirrors. "Do you think Elvis would like this dress?" one asked the other. "I picked it out just for him. I read he loves pink and green." Several fans held autographic books and hopeful faces. It was a nightmare. Luckily, Elvis was too distraught to notice. He sat through the service with his head bowed, avoiding the eyes of other mourners. Unwilling to share his grief, the ride to the cemetery was stained out but calm. Elvis managed to keep his composure until it was time for the attendants to lower Grady's casket into the grave. His body twitched, but Vernon grabbed his arm to keep him from making the lunge at the casket. Elvis was beside himself with panic and grief, boggling incomparably, just loud enough to be heard by those around him. He lacked the strength to struggle against Brennan or even shout, "Don't leave me, Mama." Don't leave me all alone. Oh, please, Mama, give me one more time to make you happy. I'll be better. I didn't mean to send you away forever. I'll be better. I didn't mean to send you away forever. Oh, don't leave. I need to hold your little hands and feet again. It was all for you. I did it all for you. He talked to Gladys all the way to the ground. He talked to Gladys all the way into the ground until Verna and Miss Minnie gently led him away. Elvis was so emotionally drained they had to help carry him to the car. It was a relief to everyone when Elvis passed out. Vernon left him there in the driveway for over an hour for a walk, waking him. Yeah? It was a relief to everyone when Elvis passed out. Vernon left him there in the driveway for over an hour for waking him. Graceland was like a morgue. Relatives and friends mingled together around the dining room table where food had been set out, but few people had much love and appetite. There wasn't as much as Gladys passing. I was inconsolable and pretty grief. It was so adequate. People suspected. Then he might be scarred for life. He might be scarred for life. Elvis's mind ran itself in circles, unable to think clearly or even from proper sentences. He talked fluently, separately, and handwritten line. Eventually had to run out, but while waiting for that to happen, Elvis raced on and on. Daddy, we have to sell the house right away. It was Mama's house, not ours. I don't want to be in it without her. I don't care where I live as long as it ain't here. When I get back from the army, I'm gonna move to California. Oh, this is when you was in the army. Yeah, Elvis was in the army. When I get back from the army, I'm gonna move to California and do my singing there. Yeah, it says right there. Daddy, we all had to sell the house right away. It was Mama's house, not ours. I don't want to be in it without her. I don't care where I live as long as I ain't here. When I get back from the army, I'm gonna move to California and do my singing there. If I have any... My dad said he was in the army with Elvis. He said he watched him and thousands of guys watched him get his hair cut. That's what my dad said. He was in the army with Elvis. Fans left who want to hear me. And if there ain't, I'll just find me a wife. When I get back from the army, I'm gonna move to California and do my singing there. If I have if I have any fans left who want to hear me, and if there ain't, I'll just find me a wife, get married, and have kids. Well, that's when you got Priscilla Presley. Have kids. Marie Presley. Oh God, why didn't I have kids? Mama always, wow, me too. My mama wanted me to have kids so she could see them before she died. Here's the same thing with Elvis. Huh. What a deja vu, huh? Huh. Yeah. Mama always wanted to be a grandma, and I let her down. I thought we'd have time for that. Me too. I thought my mom would live forever, and someday I'll find me a good, decent woman, and settle down, have kids, make my mama happy. She wanted to see her grandchildren before she died from me. It never happened. I'm going to be 51 years old. Been with 8 women, and nothing serious. Didn't never find the right one. But they say someday I'll find the right one. They say there's somebody for everybody. So we'll see. It's just me and Elvis was like a like. Yeah, we're all having sex, and while our mom was in the hospital dying, and our mama wanted us to have kids before she died. Same thing. Oh. Okay. Oh God, why didn't I have kids? Mama wanted to be a grandma. I let her down. I thought we'd have time for that. This time, room broke in, son. Your mama never felt let down by you. Don't lie, Don, mind me. Mom, Don, it's supposed to be seen. That's a misprint. Don't lie to me. Don't lie to me. I know what I know. She was just too good to say anything. If she hadn't had to look after me, she could have better herself. No, if she hadn't had to look after me. Wow. Kind of same. I was there with my mama too. My mom always trying to keep me out of trouble. Just like that song. What was that? That one song. I turned 21 in prison, doing life without parole. Mama tried to keep me better. Mama tried to make me strong. Mama tried to keep me out of trouble. If there was anybody who loved me, Mama tried. Almost 21 in prison, doing life without parole. If anybody ever loved me, Mama tried. Oh, that's just like that. That's all. Okay. Yeah, don't lie to me. I know what I know. Yeah. She was just too good to say anything. If she hadn't had to look after me, she could have bettered herself. But she never complained. Just too good. I'm going to give up singing. I don't mean anything. I don't mean anything to me right now. To me now. was on for Mama. By nightfall, Elvis had cried himself out for the Elvis had cried himself out for the time being, and he was on easy peace settling over Graceland. It was on easy peace settled over Graceland. Miss Minnie insisted that we all eat and shoot it everyone into the gun. We all eat and shoot everyone into the dining room. And I followed her into the kitchen to get some cold drinks. I wonder where Roberta went to. Miss Minnie said while fixing a plate of leftovers, "We ain't like her to go off without saying so." No one could blame her if she never came back. She's been run ragged the last 3 days. Aunt Minnie, should I set the table? Let's just eat our trays. Let's just eat on trays, girl. I went to get the folding trays out of the kitchen closet, and nearly had a heart attack when I stumbled over a body. There was Alberta, sitting in the closet on the closet floor, fast asleep, looking literally dead to the world. "Oh no," I said. "Another one. Red. Miss Minnie," and I burst out laughing, waking up Alberta with a start. "Lord, you both scared me to death," she said, trying to get up gracefully. "That's what I was afraid of. We were punch drunk, and there was desperate need for any liberty. We couldn't stop laughing. Vernon and Elvis came in to see what all the noise was about. When we told them, even Elvis started laughing. All tears streamed down her face. All tears streamed down his face. We left Graceland early the next day for Texas. Elvis's leave officially over with the funeral. He was up early and ready to go before anyone else was away. He was anxious to get back to boot camp. So there you go. Finding it preferable to the ghost of Graceland. The doctor had prescribed the first batch of sleeping pills, had okayed the second in case. The doctor who had prescribed the first batch of sleeping pills had okayed a second in case Elvis had trouble sleeping. He tossed the bottle into the bag, and none of us gave it a second thought. Elvis didn't want to fly back. Decided instead he liked to have his own car in Texas. We pulled out of the driveway into the Cadrillas, carrying Elvis myself. Vernon, Red, and Miss Minnie. Already on that day there was a change in Elvis. We put deadened eyes on. We put his deadened eyes off to mourning. But it was more permanent than that. The Elvis we had all known was gone forever. He'd been buried with Gladys. From this point on, Elvis was on a collision course with tragedy. It took 20 years, but the roller coaster ride had passed its highest point and was about to begin a long, slow train of descent. No matter how much Elvis complained at home about the service, he was a model soldier, mostly because it was very important to him that the guys liked and accept him. As soon as he got back, it suddenly became more important for him to make friends instead of being alone, which is grief. He sought to diffuse and through distraction. He craved male companionship and wanted to surround himself with it. Elvis used his home charm and privileges to attract a new following. Once a week he invited a handful of soldiers over for a home-cooked meal and her choice of expensive liquors, steadily showing off a small taste of his good life. Elvis is a real regular guy. One boy named Sam announced after several glasses of brandy he don't act nothing like a movie star. Hell, I bet nobody back home's ever gonna believe I saw Elvis Presley scrambling down to the toilet. In the hall, Vernon didn't care. The guys, Elvis. Bert didn't care for the guy. On the hall, Vernon didn't care for the guys Elvis brought home. Most frequently, Elvis surrounded him. Top of guys he felt superior to and could control. Elvis felt completely out of control about most things in his life. Jesse dying, kids making fun of him, having to leave Toronto or whatever. His mama dying, being drafted. Even his career was in the hands of someone who told him what he could and couldn't do. So in situations where he felt in control, he went overboard and to extremes, particularly with women and the guys he collected as buddies. Men who lacked any real ambition or abilities. The one tent they did share was a willingness to do Elvis' bidding and contentment to take whatever handouts Elvis was offering. Particularly, he dolled all the presents, regularly basking his sense of awareness. Before, as well as he treated his army buddies, Elvis showed flashes of uncontrollable, meaningless, boredom, and cruelly with a lot of people, myself included. Elvis had never been the most emotionally balanced of people, and he stood periculously on emotion legend. Life had thrown strike after strike against him. His upbringing and family life were unstable, with a smothering mother and an irresponsible father. Gladys never encouraged him to be independent thinker, so he grew up habitually dependent on others for encouragement and approval. His self-worth was bruised and scarred because he was known as the son of a jailbird. Really? Known as the son of a jailbird and white trash. Although he had earned a high school diploma, his education was spotty and just a bare minimum. Beyond all that, he had a family background of ignorant, simple people. And he simply hadn't been given an emotional tools to deal with the difficulty situations as they arose. The main person in his life, the one that he looked up to emotionally, detection and moral pattern matters. Had abruptly left him. He was on his own. He was emotionally balanced, set, badly shaken, and one foot already stepped off the ledge into the blackness beneath. He was filled with sorrow and guilt that refused to express itself as anger and resettlement lashed out in screaming. Girls quickly because the easiest and most frequent targets. And Tina came down to Texas a few weeks later after the funeral, and her suspicion that her romance was over and unconfirmed. Elvis went out of his way to avoid spending time alone with her. Almost as she was like a girlfriend, except for late at night when he was ready for sex. Elvis was ready for sex. And Tina, A-N-I-T-A. Tina. And Tina didn't stay long, unwilling to use that way. It was obvious that she was leaving his life for good. Elvis didn't come to the door to see her off, angry that she had rebuffed his nonsense the night before. So she walked over to him. You shouldn't say anything at all to you. I shouldn't say anything at all to you, because you don't listen. But maybe I'll get it through anyway. You got to stop blaming the world for everything bad that happens to you. Just because you're hurting and angry doesn't give you the right to be hurtful. I'm not saying it deliberately. Sometimes without knowing it. People hurt just to keep from being hurt themselves. What? I'm not saying deliberately I'm not saying it deliberately. Sometimes without knowing it. People hurt first to keep from being hurt themselves. That's a good way to end up alone. really. I understand it, but maybe I should read it again. I'm not saying a delivery because without knowing that people hurt first to keep from being hurt themselves. It's a good way to end up alone. I don't have to worry about being alone. Elvis told her. I don't have to worry about being alone. Officer. And Tina looked at him, let it drop and leave. And Tina looked at him, but let it drop and leave. And left. As soon as the car door slammed, Elvis breathed a long sigh of relief. Got that cat out of my hair. Oh, got that cat out of my hair. He joked with some buddies. Time to go back to the prowl. Most guys would feel lucky to have her. I said quietly. Let him take her. He said loudly, enough for the rest to hear. I don't want to hear no more. All she wants is to trap me into marrying her. All she's interested in is being taken care of. To hell with her, and to hell with anyone who wants me to do something I don't want to do. The house in Caroline, the house in Caroline needed a revolving door for all the girls who passed through. Every week, Alice would invite over at least 2 girls to be his special date of the evening. Alice referred to them as his favors of the day. They were discarded as such. Alice would see a girl who caught his eye at a bar standing out. Out by his gate. And the date was arranged by Red or one of his army buddies. Approaching the girl himself indicated an interest and respect he simply didn't feel, which is not to say he wasn't charmed. He was. Until they satisfied his desires, then he cooed his distant manner, left the more native ones in tears of shame or fury. Alice laughed about one girl who literally went for his throat. Alice laughed about one girl who literally went for his throat. I just told her, you got no cause to get so upset. If I don't want to see you again, I didn't make you what you are. Whore. Whore. She tried to scratch my eyes off. I don't know who they expect. I don't know who they can expect you to treat them like ladies. I don't know who they can expect you to treat them like ladies if they spread their legs before you even ask. I wouldn't say I was exactly vaunted his woman, but his dad didn't care and pretended not to notice them. Miss Manny went to bed early and minded her own business. Neither of them felt the right or need to know what Elvis was doing every second away Gladys had. All along, Vernon had a good idea. He's gonna exhaust himself between his army training and what goes on here. He'd either be in the best shape of his life or dead. Oh, don't look so surprised, Vernon laughed. I'm not deaf. Elvis is so used to looking over his shoulder to make sure he ain't being watched. The last thing he needs is for me to bother him for a few girls. Besides, he's old enough to do as he wishes. It's like a bird learning to fly. Once he gets used to it, he won't feel the need to keep flapping his wings. Elvis and Vernon got along better than they ever had, although Elvis did lash into him violently when he came home to find his father chatting with two young fans who had been hanging around all day. They were so starstruck they were thrilled to have their picture taken with Vernon, the father of Elvis. Elvis took one look at his daddy laughing with the girls and stormed into the hall, slamming the door so hard the windows rattled. God damn dirty old man, how dare he be looking at anyone so soon after Mama joined Jesse, letting those girls rub up against him that way. And it's me they want anyways, not an old man like him. He went into his bathroom and slammed the door behind him. When Elvis came out, he was sudden but never said a word to Vernon. Instead, he had Red go on to bring the two girls and the three of them flirted most of the evening. Elvis making a not so stumble point to his father, but Vernon was smart enough not to give the girls a second glance, except for a passive good night on his way to bed. After a day or two, the tenseness between them passed, and they resumed their unfamiliar and talented bond. Nobody was immune to Elvis's moodiness and sharp tongue. Myself included, Elvis came home every day for lunch, a group activity where we all sit down together and catch up with events of the day. Toward the end of his training, Elvis invited a few officers to join him at home for lunch. He had Miss Minnie cook a fancy meal and asked us to dress up. He obviously wanted to impress his superiors and expected us to do our part. When the officers came in, Elvis neglected to introduce me, offering me to go fetch some sodas instead. I did it, and I kept my mouth shut. Later, when he suggested, "Why don't you help Miss Minnie clean up?" I did. Once the chores were done, I went to sit down with my coffee, but I always put a hand out to stop me. maybe maybe it'd be better if you waited in the other room until we're gone. We can go over business then. I looked at Vernon, averted his eyes and then back at Elvis, who seemed determined to prove that a big shot he was by embarrassing me by showing off his hired hand. I excused myself and went into my room to call our friend Eddie, who had moved into Waco, Texas from Memphis a while before. I told him I was returning home on business and asked if I could spend the night. Waco. This is WACO. Waco was 100 miles from Kildare, but it was the nearest place to get a train to Memphis. Vern looked up at me with shock when he saw me standing at the door with my suitcase. Vern knew why without being told and tried to talk me out of it. He didn't mean nothing by it. He's just being ornery, trying to impress the brass. But he can do it without me. I'm going to stay at Eddie's tonight and catch a train home in the morning. Eddie met me at the station and I managed a cheerful pace, but wanting to put him in the middle. We spent the quiet afternoon catching up, helped keep my mind off how upset I was at Elvis. More than anything, I felt betrayed. There was nobody in his life who had been as loyal as a friend, who had stuck up for him when others laughed behind his back, who had accepted him as he was, as I had. He seemed hell-bent and pushing everyone away to prove just what an awful person he was. He was on the road to a self-fulfilling prophecy. Late that night, right before bed, I heard a car pull up outside and the door slam, bang, bang, followed by someone pounding on the front door. It was Elvis, and he was mad. He walked up to Eddie without acknowledging his existence. Earl, go get into the car. No, I won't. I'm not asking you, I'm telling you. I'm going home. First, getting in the car. You can't tell me what to do. Get in the car, he shouted. In his face I saw anger and pleading. He was a stubborn little boy who was afraid to admit affection. By simply apologizing, he cared enough to drive an hour and a half to come get me, and didn't want to make himself vulnerable by saying he was wrong and sorry. It was ironic that Elvis went to such pains to hide his vulnerabilities in everyday life, because that's partly what made him so appealing as a performer. That emotional, sensible need made you want to reach out to him in a way that he let you. The charisma he oozed on stage was nothing compared to his nihilism in person. But I felt my anger and resolvement under his steady gaze and gave into it. Let me get my luggage. We drove home in silence, shooting down the highway at 100 miles an hour. When we looked back to the house, when we got back to the house, someone stopped outside the front door. Don't you ever leave me again like that, Howard said and added, please. A restless field office and spending a quiet evening home was impossible. Boot camp got him in the habit of rising early and the weekends, and on the weekends he was just the first one away. Several times that fall he came in and woke me in the pre-dawn hours, insisting I get up and go with him for a ride and check on the scenery. Go check out the scenery. The morning air was damp and cool as we cruised in his Lincoln Continental. That's what my daddy had. My daddy had a Lincoln Continental, and that's why my daddy bought one. He had a Lincoln Continental convertible. On the first of these early mornings incursions, we drove up Permanent armless down the back roads of Killeen and over the Texas highways in search of the scenery, ladies' underwear. What? Over the Texas highways in search of the scenery, ladies' underwear. That's what it said. Ladies' underwear. Early mornings, the best time, cause that's when you can see women's hanging. Early mornings is the best time, cause that's when you can see the women's hanging their private things out to dry. Always said as he slowed down near an unfenced backyard filled with clothes on crisscrossing lines. From the sound of it, he had obviously pursued this pastime before. He searched out panties with studied intensity, and when he found a pair he liked, his breath quickened, and he squirmed in the seat. Look there, Earl. I like those ones with the lacy edges. Can you just imagine what goes inside? I bet they belong to a natural redhead. A sweet young thing. Yeah, Elvis was a pervert. The fantasies that excited him was most centered around young girls. Oh shit, he was a pervert. He liked the young girls. The fantasies that excited him was the most centered around young girls. Young girls in their early teens with firm, untainted flesh. Sometimes he verbalized images, but most of the time he kept his thoughts to himself. He liked them to the young girls. Oh. And he got away with it. Thousands of them. Sure. Wait. I hate when you get to the next page and it talks on right. Keeps on to himself. His face. Now, his face flushed like a naughty boy peeping through a pair of apparently open window. This particularly took on other shapes. He often wanted his days to act out roles and play pretend games as high school, bending over for a spanking and begging for mercy. As he first spanked her that entered. As he first spanked her and tempted her from behind. Oh, wait. As he first spanked her, then entered her from behind, or having them act as if they were virgins, willing to succumb to his every whim. These power games made him feel strong, superior, and control, and reinforcement. His belief that no woman would ever measure up to his mama, and particularly in goodness. They were all basically whores. During this time, another quirk presented itself. Elvis became obsessed with making sure no woman he slept with was a mother. Oh, yeah? The idea of having sex with a woman who was giving birth repulsed him. He always asked. And if his dates manipulatively happened to be loser, then he thought it should be. He would freeze and order them to leave, convinced that they lied to him. At least with teenage girls, he felt more secure. He wouldn't be pleasuring himself with a mother. If therapy had been acceptable, then as it is now, Alice might have been able to understand his sudden obsessions, to work to resolve them. But shrieks were from crazy people. And Elvis was left to bend himself with insecurity. Equipment man with no self-esteem to begin with. Emotional breakdown he suffered with the death of his mother never healed. It festered and began to rot away the person he used to be and might have been. He never repeatedly his early morning laundry. expectations outside of Texas. Once back in Memphis, he would move on to more environment development. Elvis was around. Elvis was worn as tight as a coil in Texas, and looked everything for release and comfort. One weekend he flew over in Las Vegas. He flew in Vegas Showgirl. One weekend he flew in the Vegas Showgirl. He had met her during a previous appearance there. Only enough, Elvis treated her better than the other girls. He'd been with since coming back, but he spent more time talking to her than anything else. Maybe it was because she was world weary and wise to battle of the sexes. And she had no illusions. That they shared a future. She had no illusions that they shared She had no illusions that they shared a future. Elvis didn't need to hurt her. A lifetime of broken promises had beat him to it. They talked more than anything, and he felt associated, placed in her warm soul. The truest testimony of his benevolence was that he drove to an airport with her instead of getting ready to do it. I went along to keep him company on the drive back. As we walked through the airport after seeing the dancer to her plane, it grew very quiet as people whispered to each other, "That Elvis Presley?" As we walked through the airport after seeing the dancer to her plane, it grew very quiet as people whispered to each other that Elvis Presley was there. The only sound was a heavy click of Elvis's shoes. The silence was eerie and carried a sudden sense of danger. Whatever you do, don't stop. Don't even make an eye contact, Elvis said in a low voice. Keep walking. In his mind, he relived the crush of the crowd in front of Graceland. He relived the crush of the crowd in front of Graceland. He was now surrounded by hundreds of people, and he was frightened. I hate this, God, how I hate this. Elvis said, his head bent toward the ground. Can't go anywhere anymore and have a little privacy. Elvis was at odds with himself on almost every level. He was terrified of falling back into insecurity. Back into obscurity, but wanted attention only at his convenience. His solution was to retreat out of the plugged area and create his own sphere as much as possible. Elvis would go to the great expense in his quest for a little privacy. On one of his last weekends at camp, Elvis rented out an entire hotel for in Dallas. He invited some acquaintance in Memphis down and paid their fare. He wanted a party even if he had to import it from another state. He wanted a party even if he had to import it from another state. Nobody was particularly thrilled about the idea, but off we went. Red, Vernon, Miss Minnie, myself, and Elvis. Was our first night there. What we did was sit in a big room watching TV and each other. Might as well have stayed home and saved the money, Vernon grumbled. I got tired of looking at the same four walls, Elvis said. It'd be better once everyone gets here. The next evening was certainly more crowded, but Elvis's mood was more one of the force galaxy. Elvis never really liked parties, and although he tried to enjoy himself, it was obvious he was just not going through manic motions. No matter how many layers of gloss Elvis tried to cover his sorrow with that melancholy reminded him and the cast a pall over him. Vernon and Miss Minnie returned to the rooms at the far end of the hall early, and the party lasted well into the middle of the night. While others were still danced or talking in small clusters, Elvis abruptly stood up and called to me across the room. Come on, Earl, let's go to bed. It's on the game. Come on, Earl, let's go to bed. I felt my face heat up as I saw eyebrows raised in surprise. Elvis called me again, and I followed. This wasn't the first time he insisted I go to bed with him. He said he found it difficult to sleep by himself anymore. He needed a body next to his, so it didn't really matter whose. He undressed and then stretched out in bed. I just didn't feel like taking. I just didn't. He undressed and then he stretched out on the bed. I just didn't feel like taking one of those girls to bed tonight. I wasn't up to a performance. He complained there was a tingle with awarenesses. But as the years passed, his belief was every girl he slept with expected him to be an expert lover who would send her into spawns and crazily ballooned into a raging fury. Whenever it was real or imagined, he saw disappointed. Whenever it was real or imagined, he saw disappointment registered on a woman's face after their lovemaking. And the sight put down infuriated him and made him more bitter against the opposite sex. Sex turned into a weapon. Hurt and control women before they belittled you and attempt to show themselves superior. He saw people laughing at him everywhere and lashed out, but no matter how famous or beautiful his conquest could never convince himself as he was her equal. I slipped into bed beside Elms, and he talked himself to sleep, wishes of being back in Graceland. The last week of boot camp brought it with fury of activity inside the house of Caroline, with Elms preparing to go overseas and the rest of us packing up for home as a final gesture of largesse. Elvis wanted to buy gifts for the officers and some of his buddies. For as much as Elvis enjoyed buying presents for people who would be impressed by his generosity, he had grown increasingly resentful of being seen as a gold mine. He'd grown increasingly resentful of being seen as a gold mine. Everywhere I go, the price obviously triples as soon as I walk into the door, he complained. But if I complain, I read it in the paper the next day. I'm a cheapskate. I'm a cheapskate. And you know, half the time the reporters know what I've done before I do it. His irritation was exacerbated by anxiety and sadness. On the way home, Elvis got sad. Mama would have loved going to Germany, wouldn't she? He asked, getting misty-eyed. Actually, Gladys hated traveling, but it wasn't worth arguing about. At least Mama won. Have to be humiliated by me losing it all. Since my singing career as good as done, thanks to Uncle Sam, not that it matters anymore. With Mama gone, she took all the good things with her and left me with nothing. In late September of 1985, I was boarded a train for New York. Then he was shipped to West Germany on the USS Rental. He watched the coastline shrink and cried as he saw his world sink below the horizon. Nothing would ever be right for him. He knew he'd never be whole again. He was resigned to play out the hand left dealt him. Powerless poem of laughing fate. Oh, chapter 11. Wow, that's chapters? Oh, it's all one chapter? Oh my god. All shook up. Well, fuck, I can do this all day. It's 12:30 already. That's long. Reading. Why do I think that every day I should maybe read a little bit more? That's what I think. Where I was born, early morning, one misty morning, look away, oh look away, Dixieland. Glory, glory, hallelujah, boom, 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 glory, glory, hallelujah, glory, glory, hallelujah, his troops are marching on. Alright, that's enough. 2 hours and 12 minutes. That's enough.